Chapter 6, The Ridiculous Family and a Girl's Clever Escape. In this chapter, Wen Jiu was driven to laughter by the sheer absurdity of her so-called family. It all began when her aunt behind her parents' backs secretly promised her hand in marriage. The excuse sounded righteous enough, that she had found Wen Jiu a good household, but her parents knew nothing of it. What kind of marriage was this? When the village head learned of the matter, he scolded them on the spot. A marriage without the parents' consent? This is outrageous. Yet Wen Jiu's grandmother forcefully cut in, "I am the elder. What I say goes." Her single sentence embodied the very tyranny of family hierarchy. But what truly shattered Wen Jiu was the truth behind this engagement. The Shi family was merely seeking a bride to ward off bad luck for their ailing fifth young master, and she was to be sacrificed in his stead. Even worse, she was not yet of age. By custom, she could not marry at all. This was no marriage. This was trickery. In tears, Wen Jiu begged the village head for justice, and even turned to the Shi family with a bow of apology. "This matter has nothing to do with me. I am willing to return the betrothal gift, so long as the villagers are not implicated." With those words, she revealed both her helplessness and her clarity of mind, yet her family, instead of helping, only made matters worse. Her younger sister suddenly darted forward, kneeling before Shi Heng. "100 taels mean nothing to the Shi family. Please forgive us." Shi Heng gave a cold laugh and stepped back, tossing off a line. "Should a daughter repay her father's debt? Will you marry my fifth brother in Wen Jiu's place?" The girl instantly faltered, nearly blurting out the forbidden truth, that marrying the fifth young master was no different from becoming a widow. The hall froze in awkward silence. Shi Heng seized the chance to mock her mercilessly. "You are far too ugly. It would wrong my fifth brother." At that, Wen Jiu nearly burst out laughing. Still, she composed herself and calmly suggested using their house deed and land deed as compensation. In this way, she preserved the Shi family's dignity while carving out her own escape. Her grandmother raged, stomping her feet, but Wen Jiu only said coldly, "If we don't repay the debt, our whole family will end up in prison." That single remark silenced them all. Finally, with clever tact, she proposed a compromise, to hand the property deeds over for now, and only after she came of age would she enter the Shi household to tend the fifth young master. On the surface, she yielded. In truth, she had seized the initiative. Watching her feigned sobbing, Shi Heng leaned close with a whisper of mockery. "Next time you pretend to cry, don't look me in the eye." For an instant, laughter flickered in his gaze. His words sounded playful, yet his thoughts ran deep. And so, through wit and composure, Wen Jiu carved herself a path out of her ridiculous family's trap. For now, she had turned danger into safety. But could this betrothal truly be undone? And Shi Heng, was he merely an amused spectator, or had his heart already begun to stir? Chapter 7. If Life Were Only as Lovely as First Sight. In the previous chapter, Wen Jiu staged a tearful performance before the entire village in hopes of winning sympathy and escaping her family's forced marriage. Yet her little act was instantly dismantled by Shi Heng, who teased her with a sly remark. "Next time you fake tears, don't look me in the eye." Quick-witted as ever, Wen Jiu changed tactics on the spot, proposing to care for the fifth young master until she came of age, and only then discuss marriage. Shi Heng readily agreed and, without hesitation, brought her directly into the Shi estate. Thus, she not only avoided her grandmother's trap, but also opened the first chapter of her new life at the Shi household. Upon arrival, even the gatekeepers were bewildered. No bridal sedan, no wedding attire. What kind of groom welcomes a bride like this? Shi Heng, with his usual cool indifference, merely said, "This is Wen Jiu of the Wen family," and ushered her straight into the courtyard of the fifth young master. Before Wen Jiu could fully settle in, she overheard a commotion. The fifth young master refused to change into his wedding robes and had locked himself in his room, declaring he would send her back. Burdened by his frail health and the shadow of death, he insisted that a marriage of fortune would only ruin her future. But Wen Jiu countered with calm resolve, "How can you say I am unwilling when you've never even met me?" Her words moved him to open the door. Believing she was forced into this, he gently offered to release her from the bond, providing her with silver so she might find happiness elsewhere. Wen Jiu's heart ached. Few had ever treated her with such kindness. She told him the issue had already been resolved. He then shared his condition. Long dependent on medicine, unable to stand the wind, forbidden to bask in sunlight, and never once stepping onto the bustling streets. His voice was light, but every word struck Wen Jiu like a blade. In her past life, he had already died. Now, though still fragile, he remained pure and kind. When he urged her to turn back, Wen Jiu instead seized his hand and confessed earnestly, "If you are willing to marry me, then I am willing too." The fifth young master flushed crimson, stammering if she was truly serious. Her reply was unwavering. "You've never even asked me. How do you know I don't wish to marry?" Just as the tender atmosphere reached its peak, a woman in orange stormed in, spitting venom. "Shameless little wench!" The spark of romance was shattered in an instant, replaced by the sharp sting of insult. Chapter 8. Throw her out of this house. In the last chapter, Wen Jiu finally came face to face with the fifth young master. She had braced herself for rejection, yet instead of pushing her away, he actually tried to plan her escape, going so far as to offer her silver so she could flee this marriage. Wen Jiu's heart ached, and with a single retort, "How do you know I don't want to marry?" she left him blushing red to the tips of his ears. Just as their tender atmosphere was slowly taking shape, an intruder stormed in. A woman in orange robes who spat venom and branded Wen Jiu a shameless little wench. The scene erupted, setting the stage for open conflict. This woman, Ling Lan, unleashed harsher insults, mocking Wen Jiu as a fallen girl from a ruined family and sneering that she was a toad craving swan's flesh. The fifth young master coughed violently from anger, and Wen Jiu hurried to steady him. Yet the closer they stood, the more jealous Ling Lan became. Inside the room, Ling Lan continued her assault, claiming Wen Jiu's birth date was fake and thus useless for warding off misfortune. The fifth young master's patience frayed, but before he could lose his temper, Wen Jiu gently soothed him. "Don't be angry, it will only harm your health." But Ling Lan pressed harder. Wen Jiu finally struck back, her words sharp as a blade. "The only proper young lady of the Xie family is 8 years old. Tell me, who exactly do you want me to trade places with?" Her retort left Ling Lan seething, her face dark as iron. In a fit of rage, Ling Lan even tried to drag Wen Jiu out. And just then, thud! A stone struck Ling Lan's forehead with merciless precision. Before she could retaliate, Xie Heng's cold voice cut through the air like steel. "One more word, and I'll have your tongue cut out and fed to the dogs." The little Yama king of the Xie household had arrived. His presence, sharp and unyielding, silenced Ling Lan instantly. By family law, he delivered his verdict: learn the rules or be cast out. Steward Jiang quickly urged Ling Lan to apologize. Grinding her teeth, she finally forced out a tearful confession. "I was wrong. I won't insult you again." But no sooner had she left than she wailed, "You're all bullying me," crying as she fled. Watching from the side, Wen Jiu couldn't help but marvel. Xie Heng truly was the little Yama king, unyielding and merciless. Meanwhile, the fifth young master only gave a helpless smile. "My elder brother has always liked to make sport of me." Wen Jiu's heart warmed. This family bond was stronger than blood. The fifth young master is tender and gentle. Xie Heng is cold and fiercely protective. If you were Wen Jiu, which one would capture your heart? Chapter 9. Future Mother-in-Law's 9-meter aura. In the last chapter, Wen Jiu had fully experienced a battlefield of carnage at the Xie residence. Ling Lan had lost all sense of propriety, mocking Wen Jiu's lowly status and even trying to drag her out. Wen Jiu cleverly fought back while the fifth young master defended her tenderly, but the closer he protected her, the more ridicule they faced. Just as the tension reached its peak, Xie Heng hurled a stone and coldly warned, "One more word, and I'll cut out your tongue and feed it to the dogs." One fierce sentence instantly silenced the room. In the end, Ling Lan tearfully admitted her mistakes and slunk away, leaving Wen Jiu marveling at Xie Heng's presence as the little Yama king. The fifth young master could only smile helplessly. The chaotic scene temporarily subsided. This chapter, however, the battlefield escalates. A new character arrives, the future mother-in-law. It begins with Xie Heng losing his temper because a servant allowed the medicinal soup to cool. The servant explained that he had been locked outside. Apparently, the fifth young master had learned that His bride was being brought to marry, and in a huff, denied entry. Shi Heng's cold remark, "Can't you climb through the window?" terrified the servant into instant submission. The fifth young master hastily tried to smooth things over, saying his elder brother liked to joke, but the servant added, "The eldest is serious." The atmosphere froze once again. The scene shifts to the courtyard, dappled with shadow. Second madam sends someone to summon Wen Jiu. Wen Jiu follows her maid, silently vowing to confront the owner of the Xie jade pendant. Unexpectedly, Shi Heng and the fifth young master appear one after the other, reassuring her, "Don't be afraid, we're here." Yet Wen Jiu knew in her heart the second madam was not to be trifled with. As expected, upon meeting, second madam accused her outright, "You tricked us into marriage." The fifth young master panicked, but Shi Heng calmly reassured him, "Don't worry, that girl is clever. She won't suffer losses." Wen Jiu immediately explained the elders had misreported her birth date, which caused the match to go awry. She was willing to negotiate the betrothal gifts and find a solution. Second madam, however, sneered, accusing Wen Jiu of trying to use the fifth young master's sympathy to avoid compensation. Wen Jiu firmly denied it. After several exchanges, Wen Jiu concluded in her heart, this future mother-in-law was indeed difficult to please. At a critical moment, the matriarch spoke up, praising Wen Jiu as honest and virtuous. Second madam softened slightly, yet still added, "She's already had a master recast the birth date. Let's wait for the results." Her words were polite on the surface, but the scrutiny remained sharp. Before the tension could fully ease, a maid reported Wen Jiu's younger brother, Wen Wenshun, had arrived at the Xie residence. Second, madam turned to question, and Wen Jiu had no choice but to admit the truth. She had originally instructed her family not to inform her brother. His sudden appearance left her both surprised and anxious. Will Wen Wenshun's sudden arrival become a new breakthrough for Wen Jiu at the Xie residence, or is it the start of fresh troubles? Chapter 10. The Persistent Scumbag. In the last chapter, Wen Jiu had barely met her future mother-in-law and almost faced an immediate execution. Second madam accused her outright of tricking the family into marriage, questioning her motives. Wen Jiu, quick-witted as ever, explained that the elders had misreported her birth date and was willing to negotiate properly. The matriarch vouched for Wen Jiu's honesty, but second madam continued to nitpick, insisting on consulting a master to recast the birth date. Just as the tension reached a stalemate, Wen Jiu's younger brother, Wen Wenshun, suddenly burst into the Xie residence, making the atmosphere even more intense. This chapter, the true battlefield, begins. The matriarch, seeing Wen Wenshun, graciously allowed him in. As soon as he entered, he excitedly shouted, "Sister!" Wen Jiu, affectionate, pinched his cheeks and asked why he had come. Red-eyed, he said he couldn't bear to see his sister marry the fifth young master and was willing to give up his studies to support her. Wen Jiu scolded him sharply. Nonsense. At that moment, an unwelcome figure appeared, Meng Chengjun. He was Wen Jiu's childhood friend and former betrothed. Yet due to the Wen family's absurd one-girl, two-marriages scheme, her chastity had been used as a bargaining chip. Now he showed up, pretending he was only concerned for Wen Jiu's safety. Second madam immediately demanded proof of their engagement. Wen Jiu flatly denied it, slapping Meng Chengjun as she called him a persistent scumbag. Undeterred, he tried to justify himself, even invoking the fifth young master's supposedly short life to persuade Wen Jiu not to marry. Furious, Wen Jiu slapped him again, scolding, "Shameless, you've tarnished my honor." Even more absurdly, Wen Wenshun tried to defend Meng Chengjun, claiming he had good intentions. One sharp glare from Wen Jiu sent him cowering instantly. Wen Jiu knew in her heart Meng Chengjun either wanted to harm her or extort money. Just then, Xie Heng appeared. Instinctively, Wen Jiu glanced at him and immediately felt he was someone she could rely on. As expected, Xie Heng's cold command cut through the tension. "Take him away, break his legs." Meng Chengjun froze, then angrily accused Wen Jiu. "You're greedy for wealth, twisting right and wrong." Xie Heng's gaze hardened, then cut out his tongue as well. Meng Chengjun went silent immediately, terrified beyond reason. Even Wen Shun was shaken by the scene. Wen Jiu quickly smoothed things over. The eldest young master was joking. Xie Heng chuckled and teased Wen Wenshun. "You're quite delicate looking." Wenshun glanced over, mistaking Shiheng for his brother-in-law, and exclaimed with admiration, "No wonder sister agreed to marry, so this is how handsome a brother-in-law is." Meng Chengjun was silenced, but will he really stay in line? Or will he return with vengeance? Do you think he'll cause more trouble?